Welcome back to another video. Today's video is about data management on set. And why is data management so important? You're gonna spend thousands and thousands of dollars in your movie and you're not gonna put any effort or any resources towards putting that data where it belongs safely. Well, then you're doing something wrong. Here are the steps you need to take in order to properly do data management. A little background before we start. Data management is a job done by the data wrangler. If there's no data wrangler, it's done by the DIT or digital image technician. And if there's no DIT, it is done by the second assistant camera. These, if you work in the camera department, these are responsibilities that you need to know in order to ensure a successful transfer of data from the camera into hard drives. Here's a list of things you need to start data management. Number one, a laptop. It doesn't have to be an Apple laptop. It can be any brand of laptop as long as it's not terribly old. And why is that? Because this laptop has USB-C ports on the side here. USB-C ports are extremely fast, but it comes with some caveats and we're gonna go into that later. You need the card that is on the camera. This is an SSD that I use, but this is one that I connect to my camera in order to record longer format episodes. Bigger cinema cameras all have their own type of SSD. Red has their own types of SSD, Arri has their own type, and Sony has their own type, all different. Whenever you rent out a camera package, you should expect them to have the card reader belonging to that camera in the package, so no need to worry about bringing all kinds of card readers to set. Make sure that it's in the package when you rent it out. You're gonna need some cables. This right here is a USB-C cable. If your hard drives are USB-C, you get a USB-C cable. Not all USB-C cables are built the same. Don't think just by grabbing any other USB-C cable from 7-Eleven that it's gonna work as the USB-C cable that came with the hard drive. Use the one that came with the drive, or get one that you know matches the speeds of SSD to USB-C. A word of warning about these hubs that you find on Amazon. These are super cheap, and when you see them, it says, oh, it's got USB 3 ports, USB-C, it's got SSD, it's got all kinds of crap. Why wouldn't I just get one of these instead of getting, another card reader? The issue with these is that, especially if they're cheap, are not meant to handle fast amounts of data. These kind of hubs usually are for people who work in an office. Instead of getting one of these, I'll suggest you get one of these. These are just a standard normal SD or micro SD card reader, but it comes with one side USB-C and one side USB. With the blue thing here, that means it's USB 3. So you know this is at least gonna be fast enough to transfer your data. Don't get the cheapest one you find. Invest some money into your card readers, because the cheaper you go, it can have less speeds, not guaranteed. It's gonna be a nightmare. So just if you find one of these that costs $5, be aware. Next, you need the backup drive. In this case, this is an SSD drive. SSD because nowadays cameras recording huge formats, huge resolutions, and we need the speed to match so it doesn't take hours and hours to transfer footage from camera into drives. SSDs are the fastest thing we have right now. So make sure that the drive that you get to at least transfer is an SSD. Backing up this stuff later into a different drive, it can be a hard drive just like this one. This is a standard regular hard drive. You can have this as backup after you transfer the stuff out of the camera into an SSD or a shuttle drive. This will be what is called a shuttle drive. This can work also as the editing drive or the backup, but an SSD serves to offload the camera media faster than it would on a traditional hard drive. You can edit perfectly fine from one of these, or you can edit from one of these, but make sure this is the method of transfer on set, especially if you're dealing with huge resolutions or big formats. You need some tape. As an assistant camera, you should have a tape sling like this, but for this case, we're only gonna be using the red and the green tape, and you'll see why in a second. Now I'm gonna go step by step on what do you do as soon as you're ready to dump a card into the hard drives. First, you get the card from the camera. Let's use this as an example. And as soon as you pull it out from the camera, you grab some red tape and you cover the contacts like this. What you're doing by putting red tape and covering the contacts is ensuring that this card won't be accidentally put back again on the camera, formatted, and have its data overwritten before you dump it. Red means don't go. This is a hot camera, not ready to format. So then you bring this camera to your station. Please keep your station organized and clean, because if you have clutter, Starbucks cups, food here, it's gonna be a mess and you don't wanna ruin your laptop or the camera card. So you come to the station. Once you arrive at your station and you have your card with the red tape on its contacts, then you take it off. and you put it, what I usually do is I put the tape on top of the hard drive or by the computer, just so I know which card is dumping. In here in the tape, you would have the mag number written, so like A001, and then you plug in the card into your computer. Before you dump your card into the hard drive, you must prepare it in this format that I'm going to show you here. You start with the main folder, with the name of your movie or the project title, and then you make another folder for the day, let's say day 1 and the date. Then you go in and you make 2 folders, one that says camera media and one that says sound media. Then you go into the camera media folder, and that's when you start putting the mag tags in order. So let's say the first one of the day is A001, you make a folder called A001. And then you come to the part where you're going to dump the actual contents into the drive. You do not just drag and drop like you would for files or any other regular software. You got to get software that's specialized into making sure that every bit of data in the card is copied correctly into the hard drive. There's 2 programs that I've used for this. One is called Shotput Pro, that's an industry standard I've used in the past, but there's one that's more lightweight and I think more friendly for everybody called Hedge that does exactly the same thing. So let's use Hedge as an example here, and I'm gonna show you how to transfer. You just put the card in one side that says sources and the drive in the one that says destinations. Then you choose your folder in the drive and we browse and we pick our folder that we created for that dump. So we go day 1, camera media, A001. We select it. You don't go into the card and pick out the clips. You copy the whole card because you don't know if there's LUTs, settings, or anything that needs to be transferred later for post. So you copy the whole card, doesn't matter how many subfolders or structures it has. You grab it and you start transferring the data. And because this is an SSD, it's only gonna take 6 minutes to transfer, I think it's like 30 gigs of data. That's really, really fast. If it was a regular hard drive, it could take upwards of an hour or maybe even 45 minutes, which nowadays is kind of unacceptable when it's such a small amount of data. With these softwares, you get a transfer log at the end that tells you how much gigabytes were transferred, each individual clip that was transferred and where, and it gives you a report at the end that you would use to give to the producer saying, hey, today we transferred all these clips, we transferred this amount of gigabytes, and it's all safe in this drive. Always back up everything to at least 2 drives, if not 3. 2 drives is minimum. I've had horror stories where people have only 1 drive for backup and they lose all their days worth of shooting, and it's not a conversation you want to have. When you're done dumping your card, you're gonna grab a green piece of tape and put it around the contacts as well. But this time, green means go. You put this back in the camera case or wherever all the other cards are, and that means this card has been dumped and is ready to format. Try to use all the other cards that haven't been used before you use this one, so you spread out the probability of one card failing. And yeah, just always make sure you label things correctly with green tape and red tape. Again, put this back where all the other cards are and keep on shooting. And in the end, whenever you back up all the cards into the drive, go into the drive and make sure that you can see every clip and that it's recorded properly and that everything looks good. If you shot without a LUT and it's all raw, make sure that it's shot raw and not with a LUT, and the other way around. I use Premiere to check these because just sometimes the computer don't have the software to read these raw files, but Premiere, if it's up to date, most of the time can read it directly. So you open it up in Premiere, you take a look to see everything is there. And that's pretty much it. It's a very simple process, but something that is very oftentimes overlooked in the whole mess of film production. So now you know how to dump data safely, be responsible, and give this job to somebody that can do it appropriately. Again, if there's no data wrangler on set, then the DIT does it. And if there's no DIT on set, then the second assistant camera does it. And if there's no second assistant camera, then you figure out who's gonna do it, because that's usually the order how things goes. Thank you very much for tuning into my video today. I hope you found it useful, and I'll see you in the next one.